the way you
Yeah.
are.
Small
to live your
shifts
life
that
is
make a
mastering stuff.
big impact on inner peace. I had started editing this article for my website the other day, but I got real sleepy and I stopped, and then I ended up sleeping for like 14 hours and didn't wake up until 6:50 in the afternoon yesterday. It was crazy how I slept in, but I needed it because I had stayed up the night before. So this is, I know people talk about all the time about, I'm just kind of over some of the advice, like pulling to and fro about stuff. It's like, this is what I do, like I'm this kind of nerd.
Just like that.
And so, alright, so pre-publishing guest author AI assisted blog article, and I started doing that, and then towards the end of it, like I just got really tired, and I couldn't do it anymore, so I stopped. Like I even saved this in the video. And going to sleep. Yeah, so that was on YouTube. It's called Pre-Publishing Guest Author AI Assisted Blog Article on hypnoathletics.com, NSSR, Not So Subliminal Recording. So I won't embed that into the video. What I'm going to do is,
thank you. So do you?
I'm going to finish it now. The article. And so this is going to be my process here. The article is called Small Shifts That Make a Big Impact on Inner Peace. So this is the process that I go through. So some time ago, because I've had this website online since 2007. No, this is hypnoathletics.com. So I've had it online since 2006. So it's like 19 years. I'm just trying to connect this microphone here because I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but disconnect that. Also, I disconnected the line. Why did they connect it? Alright, so it's called Small Shifts That Make a Big Impact on Inner Peace. So on the website, hypnoathletics.com, more to exercisingyourmind.com, I guess because it was just like a cleaner, more sort of mainstream site that was appropriate for this. But sometime, I don't know, probably around between 2016 2018, I should look. I don't know exactly when. But these authors started emailing me saying, hey, I have a really great article that I think would fit for your readers on your site. Do you mind if I send you a free article? Da, da, da. And at first, I don't know if I responded to them right away, but then they kept on coming in. And then so I started looking at their proposals. And the articles were pretty decent. I thought, I mean, they're real simple. They're easy to read. They're much easier to read than, the really kind of involved research articles that I've done before. Not saying that mine are like super complex or anything like that, but they were just basically, you can put them under the category of life hacks. Just like this one, it's called Small Shifts That Make a Big Impact on Inner Peace. So they started submitting them, and I started publishing them on my site. And the process that I go through is I have to, as the editor-in-chief, I have to website blogdealer.com, where usually before I was just generically putting like a sponsored by blogdealer.com on there. Now I'm going to look at the article and see which one of the courses on blogdealer.com most appropriately fits with this blog article, and then put that link in there. And I'm not really going to make a big fuss about it because there's over 200 courses on the site. I don't recall all of them. I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to kind of look around the categories that sort of match up closest to it. Like, for example, if you go to blogdealer.com, you'll see that you can click on courses. And when you click on courses, you have the categories of business and making money, social media and networks, marketing, promotion, web development, health and fitness, and then productivity and self-help. So I'll look through those and see which one of those most appropriately fit up with this. And already what I'm looking at
I like
is,
feeling crazy.
with just the title of it, it's probably going to fit in the category of either health and fitness or more likely productivity and self-help, the category that I'm narrowing down for that sponsored by. And so also I want to mention this too, because this is coming to mind right now, is something that, and I was just watching a video called this guy, something Sue, it seems like a Chinese name. I know a little bit about him because I was in China for 5 years, so I recognize him sometimes. But yeah, it's called The Real Future of Marketing with Seth Godin. What's interesting was the guy who founded and started email marketing, but The Real Future of AI Marketing with Seth Godin. And it's leveling up with Eric Seal. This is like the first time that I'm really hearing about it. I think I've seen him before. So one of the things that I'm doing is, because I'm very comfortable with speaking, and even though this is really kind of actually funny, I got really good using Final Cut Pro and Avid to do post-production. That's editing video. And I even worked in a company called Original Post, and I was a stringer and an assistant editor. Well, no, I was actually a stringer. I was an under assistant editor. I got promoted to assistant editor for a short time before I left. And I was editing the shows, assistant editing the shows for Monster Garage and Plastic Surgery before and after, and Monster House and stuff like that. And then before that, I was editing video. I did a lot of video editing before, but it's not my thing because just sometimes it takes a lot of time to do it, and I'd rather not. I do it every once in a while, and now that the technology is getting better and better, that I can do it from my mobile device, I'm doing it more like that and just putting silly things together. Like, I don't take it too seriously in the sense that I find footage that I've already taken. And so this is the way my mind works, is I basically look at my phone and it starts telling me, oh, you're running out of storage. So I think, okay, I got to dump these videos, but I want to keep them because maybe I want to use them in the future. So what I've been doing is I've just been taking the videos and putting my podcast underneath it, like as the audio track, and just letting the video play, even though it might have nothing to do with the what I'm speaking about. So reason why I'm saying that, Seth Godin made a good point, and he may not have been doing this, and I'm not trying to cause any controversy. This is the way that my mind thinks. I feel like he was kind of taking a jab at my boy who I have this parasocial relationship, and I'm going to keep using that term so people become familiar with. I say my boy, I don't really know him. I've never met him. He's never acknowledged me that I know of. Is Gary Vaynerchuk, who talks about creating massive amounts of content and being on every single social media platform that you could possibly find. And although in some ways that made sense, and I do a little bit of that, like I bounce around when it's convenient for me, though. Like, see, but Seth Godin made a point where, like, he sticks to blogging, and he's a speaker, and he doesn't try to do all that other stuff like that, and he gets really good in his domain. And so I found a way to get really good at a certain kind of podcasting that I do, which I have now been innovating this style called not so subliminal recordings, where the audio is so prominent on the recording that actually for a while my podcast hosting software that I pay for, Spreaker, I got flagged 4 days in a row. Every single day, one of my podcasts got flagged and deleted for violating their terms of service, because their terms of service say that it's not a music streaming site. So you don't just go in there and make playlists. You know, I mean, I think you can DJ, sort of, where you can start talking about, hey, this is Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander, and this is, 7 songs that Flora and I did together, and it's just going to jam out. And so here's the first one, and it's called Asteroid Mining. Check it out. And then you can play the song. But because of the way the ad structures and the ad sharing is set up, you've got to have speaking. That's what the advertisers want. They want people sharing information and knowledge. And so that's what that's all about. So so while Gary Vaynerchuk says be everywhere and try to find ways to repurpose the content, make a video, and from the video you can strip the audio, and from the audio you can make a transcript, and from the transcript you can make a summary, and then you can put this here and there, right? And he's everywhere, and he's got millions of followers, like tens of millions of followers, like across all social media. Seth Godin, on the other hand, who is an OG, like, was just saying, look, I don't do all that, I'm focusing on my thing. And that's also how I felt, where even I've been expressing that haikuically, that's my term that I'm coining for right now, mostly on LinkedIn, because I'm seeing a lot of people on LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedIn is becoming a lot more like Facebook, or Facebook is like LinkedIn, and Facebook is making a resurgence. But I've noticed that the posts that people make on Facebook and LinkedIn are almost an identical format, which is a format that I learned years ago when I started doing copywriting, which is writing the copy or writing the words for advertising. And I was experimenting with all the stuff that I was writing on my website, hypnoathletics.com, which is what I'm publishing this article on right now, where you'd write a sentence or two and then you'd space, double space, and then another sentence or two, and keep it so that, and the whole rationale behind that was that it was easier for people to read as it went along. So that's, if you are on LinkedIn at all, you'll see that the people who are like leaders on there, selling courses, are really popular. I don't know what they thought leaders, whatever, the gurus, they all use that same kind of format. And I look at it and I see it everywhere, and it kind of bugs me that's like the mode of communicate. Like, but it's just me. Like, a lot of stuff bugs me. Like, look at my video that I did called Sermon on the Toilet. I have an attitude problem with some things sometimes. It's like stuff just pisses me off, and I don't know why, right? And it just gets under my skin, and I look at it, I'm like, man, everybody's doing the same thing when, we're talking about individuality. But here's the thing. Apparently it's working for people, right? So if it's working and it works for you and you're getting results doing that, I am in no way the person you should listen to get advice about how to succeed online with anything. I've been succeeding in my own way. I have my websites that I do my way, my blogs, my podcast, my YouTube videos for 19 years now, almost 20 years now. My first video dropped on YouTube in like 2007. My first blog where that's been continuously running is from 2006. Both around the same time, March, like the beginning of the year of 2006. So, I mean, I get to do what I want and how I want. Now I play ball a little bit, like with Spreaker, my podcasting software. They say don't make music playlists. I'm not making music playlists. Don't be a racist. I'm not a racist. Not that I'm that racist anyway. I'm racist against every race, including whatever I am. Like I'm one of those people like from back in the day where where comedians made fun of everybody and each other and they were all cool with it. That's how I am too. And I use all the stereotypes and I think that they're funny because I don't hate people. It's crazy how people have gotten sensitive and with the whole cancel culture and all that stupid kind of stuff like that. But that's a sidetrack. But the whole point is that, really circling back is that a lot of that stuff I see, it really just, I don't play by anybody else's rules. I really use a Bruce Lee type of method, like and maybe it's because I'm so into martial arts, maybe that really touches me that way really well. But when I said touches me that way, right, it reminded me of fencing, because you call it a touch, not a, and I learned that actually, interestingly enough, from the Big Bang Theory show. But martial arts really touches me in this way. So Bruce Lee, if you don't know, he has said, take what works for you and discard the rest. So that's what I've been doing. Now, some people say, oh, you can't cherry pick and it's not going to work. But I don't find that to be true, because I'm enormously productive and, dare I say, prolific in creating and innovating stuff of my own, even if nobody else understands what I'm doing. But I think a lot of people actually do. I just don't have the vanity metrics all the time that people would think for the amount that I'm creating. Whereas if you look at how many streams and downloads my podcasts have in the millions, it's weird, right? Because you don't see that on YouTube. You don't see that on, the other channels with likes and views and stuff like that. It's just that it's happening all over the world. And it's because of the platform I'm using, which is why I've been with Spreaker since 2014. So what is it? Or 2025, so 11 years. Some of the first stuff actually got deleted because I let the account go, delinquent for a little while. And I'm a little bit sad about that because at that time, Floor and I, from 2016 until I let it go for a little bit in 2018, I think it was. So in that 2-year period, we had a bunch of podcasts where it was both of us together, and I wish I would have still had those because I like hearing her voice and stuff. But everything happens for a reason. But so, man, and this is supposed to be about this blog that I'm publishing, and I might get tired just to end it again. No, I'm just joking. But the point is that I'm starting to notice the success building up in the monetarily measurable way from doing things in my own way. So if I'm gaining traction like this by doing things the way that I want to do it, is that wrong? For the first time, with Spreaker, I started making passive income while I was sleeping because they have this ad sharing thing just because I create podcasts and it blasts it out to the rest of the world. So that's one. Then I started doing AI assisted book publishing and using Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, and took some blogs directly from my website hypnoathletics.com, the one I'm publishing now, and turned that into a book, and took those things together like that and did that, and then took the ideas that I have and then had AI help me write the outlines and put together the structure and the text and everything like that, and then heavily edited, some more than others, and then start getting royalties from that. And then signed up as an Amazon associate so that when I use the short links as an Amazon associate, that sends people to buy my books. And if they buy it through that link, not only do I get paid royalties for being the author of the book, but I get a commission for being the Amazon associate who got the eyeballs on that link to sell that book. And then finally, just the end of last year, I found a guy, Terra Digita, I forget what his name is, a guy from Greece, I was able to white label these 200 courses that are on blogdealer.com after I looked at them and saw, okay, this is some really great beginner marketing stuff that if somebody looked at this, they would get a good foothold on how to start playing the game of online marketing and building a business that way, and just marketing in general. And then plus there's health and fitness stuff, there's exercise, there's ebooks. I mean, it's chock full of valuable resources. And so now that's another way. And then back to Spreaker, they added this thing where you can basically, they had it before, where you can put things on, sort of like on YouTube, how a lot of people monetize their YouTubes without YouTube ad. I don't know how YouTube does that, because I've never been monetized by YouTube's thing. But before, you could make a video unlisted and then only give that to people. The link, you can see that if they went through Patreon, right, where they could get the exclusive access. So Spreaker had something like that, where you could put an unlisted video, right, podcast, and then you can do a Patreon thing by only giving the link to people who sign up and subscribe through your Patreon. Now they've made their own system, where now they've connected it with the PayPal and everything like that, where you can put your podcast behind a paywall, and if people want that exclusive content, then they pay for it. And I've actually had my first subscriber sign up like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I just added a new podcast to it for them, because it made me think, okay, now I got people who are signing up for that, so I've got to give them more value. So all of these things are starting to happen, and it's because I partially listened to Gary Vaynerchuk. Remember Bruce Lee, take what works for you and discard the rest. And I started creating more content, but I started doing it in my own way. Like, it sparked something in me with this not so subliminal recordings, which is basically me just as I'm going out shopping, as I'm doing gig work, as I'm doing other stuff. I simply just took my mobile device and I put it in this chain wallet. I would stick it in here. The first ones didn't go like that. And as I'm walking around, I'm just talking and stream of consciousness, doing my best to focus around a specific topic. Like, I started developing, first of all, I started talking about the not so subliminal recordings, and then I talked about how I developed and added to aging, and now I have this thing called the 4 types of aging. And then I just recently created this acronym called PITCH, which is showing that how these things are equivalent to hypnosis. And PITCH is PITCH, the H is hypnosis, and PITCH is programming, influencing, training, conditioning. Hypnosis are equivalent, and I started talking about that. So I keep it around those subjects, and I'm building my own course and my own philosophy based on my original idea. This website, Hypnoathletics, is exercising your mind towards universal harmony and spiritual wisdom through healthy living and self-defense. But the point is, because of, I found a way to like just rapid fire off these podcasts, right? And it started sitting at a cafe in Fort Lauderdale on Oakland Park Boulevard called Maggie's Favorite Coffee and Bakehouse. And I made a video, but I had to mask the music that was playing in the background from their PA system, and because I knew that if I put that video on YouTube, it would flag it for copyright, so I put one of my songs, which is named Flora Elizabeth Carrasco. It was a song I dedicated to her, put some binaural beats in the background, and it had a cool beat, and her voice and my voice, and it was really cool. And then as I was listening to it, I said, whoa, my voice, and this is a word I'm making up, my voice is subliminated, or sublimated would probably be the word. I like subliminated, but my voice is somewhat masked by the wall of sound. And then I did the second one where right away the idea came. I was like, oh, this is not so, it's kind of subliminal, but it's not so subliminal. And then I walked down Oakland Park Boulevard from Maggie's Favorite to the Lipton Toyota, where my car was just getting the front axles put on, and I put on a binaural beat in the background, and then I was talking, and there's all this traffic noise and the binaural beat, and it was one of the first ones that got flagged by Spreaker because the AI couldn't tell that it wasn't music. It thought that I just played like a straight long music track, but it wasn't. And then every day after that, 4 days in a row, I just kept on getting flagged and flagged and flagged. I can't believe it wasn't even that long ago, because that was just last week. on Friday when they sent me the last message. So it was like, I forget when I even got back to Florida, but so much has been happening so fast. I mean, I've created like over 50 to 60 podcasts in just since last week, whenever I went to Lipton Toyota to get my car. Like, and that's what I'm talking about. Which also leads me to another thing that I want to talk about, which is how I'm creating massive amounts of content without relying on AI to, create 30 days of content for social media posts and all that, and then feeding it to, 11 Labs that then speaks the voice out, and then, making videos to go along with it. Nah, I found a way, and plus because, I felt it already as well, but then I got reinforcement on my ideas. Not that I need the validation, but it definitely feels good when you get support from other people. But I saw these other two marketers and business people that I've been watching their videos besides Gary Vaynerchuk, which is Sunny Lenarduzzi, who teaches how to make online courses, and she always talks about, she has really cool videos. You should check her out on YouTube. And then the other one is Alex Catani, who teaches copywriting, which is something I mentioned earlier, writing the ad copy. And both of them had ideas about how AI is making a lot of stuff online like really bland and really plain and really kind of vanilla and just like the same, and how building your brand, your own authentic voice and real connection. And so that's what I was doing also by just doing my own thing with these not so subliminal recordings, which also manifested on LinkedIn, where I was making all of these different cards, if you will, and they were all haiku, and the haiku were taking a little bit of a jab at like what I was saying about the sameness on that marketers are doing. And the thing is that it may be working for them, but because I am the way that I am, I'm deciding not to play the same game. What is Meta doing to get me to sign into Facebook? Because what I was really wanting to do, top face icons, okay. It's really, it might be a robot. That one, and there's two hearts. What the hell that is? This puzzle's got me stumped. Like, I feel kind of stupid. Maybe that's the one. Okay, verification complete. Wow, didn't even look like what it was supposed to look like. But so, for example, these decks, I'm going to call them, because this is a word I want to remember. And I just realized I was today years old when I realized when people are talking about decks, they're talking about like the different slides for PowerPoints. All right, so for example, and I just copied them from my Facebook page called Mordecai, where I'm making these haiku. And the first ones that I should have putting them on LinkedIn, the first one is, it's still possible to create originals without AI use. And then it just says World Reading Club, and then my name, Hakeem Ali Bokas Alexander. Then another one, success strategies. We're being taught to be clones following formats. Into the funnel. When you click that link below, squeezing you daily. Success may tempt. Some of us cannot follow. Oh, success may tempt, but some of us cannot follow no matter the prize. Do you understand that what hinders your success is conformity? And go blaze your own trail. Why are you all copying tricks that do not work? Sometimes mired in stealth, the roots of excellent health are the truest wealth. And one key to success is being sure ambition is led by action. Strength rises within, mediocrity whispers, ignore the weak cries. So why be a robot? We're building AI for that. Run your own program. So I've been doing those, and I just wanted to read those. It's fun. And when I started doing those, and I think because it says World Reading Club and then my name, all of a sudden my visits to my Google business page went from like maybe 1 or 2, I think the highest before was like 7 visits to it a month, to all of a sudden it was at 48. And so I thought, okay, there's something about this activity I'm doing, but why would World Reading Club be the thing? And I said, oh well, I have World Reading Club right there on the decks, and then my name, and then now I put World Reading Club, then I put my name, and then I put blogdealer.com because that's my e-commerce website where I have all the courses and stuff like that. So, and now to say all of that this is the thing that I want to get people to understand, and that I think is a good way to build your business and not have to do the same thing everybody else is doing, because I'm starting to see it gaining momentum. And you have to have some way for people to compensate you, right? To pay you. But what I've done was I've layered something into it where it's a melding, a mixing of the advice that different people have been talking about, which is give value, right? When you're going to speak, give value. Like I've been just being completely like looking over the shoulder, transparent, like just telling you exactly what I'm doing, right? So I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing, giving value. People talk about, oh, people don't want to be taught. They want to be, I don't know what they're saying. I'm a teacher like this. But the point is that that what I'm doing is just showing the process of just making documentaries like this. I'm sitting in my car. I'm in Florida right now. I've just been working all day. I finished eating, and I started watching a Seth Godin video, which I'm going to watch the rest of it in a little bit. He brought up some good stuff, and I just couldn't wait anymore, and I wanted to do this blog, publish this blog anyway, because I stopped a couple days ago. And what I've come to the conclusion is that because what I'm doing is working, I'm starting to see the momentum. I can continue doing it this way, and then the idea that I have that's working is when people decide that they're gonna buy my book, for example, it's not necessarily because the books are all that good. They're decent. I wrote them mostly, especially the first books that I wrote on demonology, were mostly so I could learn the process of self-publishing through Kindle Direct Publishing, to where now I hardly have to think about it. I go into the editing software. I know how to use the AI prompts if I want to help. I know how to import my blogs and everything like that for it to mix around and make its AI weirdness with, right? I know the process. I know how to go to, Kindle Direct Publishing site. I know how to make the better covers, like all that stuff like that. So really the first books were really me doing it so I can learn the process. And now I learn the process. So now that I've stopped cranking out like one book every month, now I can start doing those higher tier books. But they're not so much because they're super good books. Like they're beginner like textbook. Like, they're like introductions to stuff. And then I've actually taken 6 of the demonology books that I published and one that I didn't, that was unpublished, and I combined them together into one mega book. So now I have this UniquilibriuM's demonology book, and I slipped some other stuff in there, so it's a much better thing now. And I deleted most of them from the Amazon store, except for the ones that were that could make physical copies, because you need a certain amount of pages before the books can be paperbacks or hardcovers. So I left those ones in there that I can get physical copies of, because I just want to be able to do that. But now, the point that I'm getting to about this is that the books are there because it's a way for people to, how like sometimes there's like like people have a donate button or donate through PayPal or whatever. This way people can donate to me or buy me a coffee, as it like those different things are. Patreon me, like they can patronize me, but they can get something for it, right? That's the way that I'm looking at it right now, is that the books, the physical copies of the books, are a way for people to say, hey, I appreciate what you're doing and what you're teaching me and what I've learned and how transparent you're being, and just like you're letting me look over the shoulder and you're talking about the things that you're doing and that it's working and that's encouraging me, or I'm just like seeing that it's real, like you're not overproducing and doing all this other stuff like that, which is fine. People can do it. And when I have the opportunity to do it, then I will be doing that sometimes. When I first got here to the United States from China, and I was at my sister's house, my podcast where I had like super high-tech microphones and it was like super clean and I had all this production going on. I had screens everywhere, which actually I do right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. But it was super polished. It was higher production. Ever since I started hitting the road and traveling to California and Florida and everywhere else, and I'm doing mobile podcasting and everything like that and video recording, I was like, yeah, some things are going to have to get sacrificed, and that's just the way that it is, but I just want to create the content and document my process. And so, but because of doing that, and I'm constantly just putting it out there, and I really just feel like that there's a certain niche, a certain group of people that I will be vibing with, and that's the best that I can do. I can't try to force other people who are not vibe with me. I'm just putting it out there. They can say thank you by buying a book or 2 or more, and that's a way they can, they can send me, and monetarily they can compensate me for that. Then also, just by listening to the podcasts are actually a forced thing, which is, I know that's a harsh word, but it's exactly what old school advertising and marketing was. It hasn't changed. Podcasts are just internet radio. You could say what you want about it, but that's really what it is. All it is just digital radio that's been democratized because anybody can do it, and we can pretty much do whatever format we want within rules, right? Because Spreaker, they don't want certain things on it. That's why my podcast got flagged and deleted 4 days in a row, one each day, because the AI didn't recognize that it wasn't breaking their rules. But they finally took a look at it. They said, hey, look, we're sorry. It was our system. We've whitelisted your podcast. You're good to go. So now, because back in the day, people, when you were watching a television show or listening to radio, you couldn't stop the advertisements. Like a commercial came on. Same thing with the podcast. Like if you want to listen to my podcast, you're going to have to listen to 30 to 90 seconds of a commercial in the beginning of it. I mean, you can fast forward it, but it's there. It's even there when you download it, and then you can listen to it. Sometimes if it's longer, there might be a commercial in the middle of one of the sponsors, and then at the end. And so that right there is one way I get paid. And if people want to hear what I'm saying, like if this was a podcast and they wanted to hear it on Spreaker or the other places that it blasts out to, they'd have to deal with the advertisements. And then finally, the blogdealer.com website is more if people want to be able to get to learn more, like if they actually want to do courses. The books are kind of like token things, right? You get a physical book, you're like, oh, I got this book. Some people hardly ever take the shrink wrap off, but hey, you got a cool book. You're like, yo, I if you ever see me one day, hey, Akeem, I got a book. I want you to autograph it for me. That's a fun thing to do, right? Is autographing books. I remember when I first published my first book in 2005, I gave out thousands of copies of it that I was printing out and paying for myself. This little haiku chapbook called Serena Wears Black, and I was giving it out to people, and people were like, will you sign it for me? And I was like, that's cool. And it has nothing to do with a celebrity or superstar. It's just you're signing your work, and people want to commemorate it and be like, oh, I know the author of this book. To the point where even to this day, I've asked people not too long ago to send me, I asked them if they still have copies of the book because I wanted to republish it. And 3 people out of 3 that I asked, one said, it's a cherished thing that I have on my coffee table. Sure, send me pictures of it. Another friend in Israel, Amit Sharabi, took really great pictures. He's a photographer, took photographs of it and emailed to me. Another friend, Alex, she did the same thing. She took pictures of it and sent it to me. So it was like, that's a good feeling to have. So now, all of that, and I still didn't get to this article, Small Shifts That Make a Big Impact on Inner Peace. So I'm not even going to name this video that. I'm just going to have to wait for the next video to hear it, because how long have I been on now? 40 minutes, good lord. Wow, that is, see, we're talking. I'm gonna leave with this last thing. out there, if you're still alive, I don't know, my 6th grade math and science teacher, he said to me one day, he saw me talking to myself, and he basically encouraged me and said that people who talk to themselves are creative, it's a mark of genius and intelligence. So thank you, Mr. Muniz, for encouraging me talking to myself, because I'm doing it now. It's earning me money. Not a lot of it, but enough to where I'm encouraged. Say, yeah, I'm a professional podcaster, content creator. I didn't even know what that was, and I'm selling books and online courses, and most of it is just because I talk to myself, and I decided to start recording it, and it's amazing, and I'm really thankful for that. So that's it. I mean, and back to what I started in the beginning about was doing things my way, and I think, looking at that video from Seth Godin, which is on YouTube, it's called The Real Future of AI Marketing with Seth Godin. And the one thing he said was like, I don't think people understand what marketing really is. It was one of the things I saw. Which is fun. Yeah, people don't understand. Yeah, it was like people don't understand what marketing actually is. Seth Godin. So, good video. All right, well, I should end this and then upload this one to YouTube, and then maybe start another video to actually read through and publish the article where I actually read the article. All right, so that's all.